other piece, which is now a consortium that I'm forming, and I think I spoke about this before, but this is Pay the Ferryman for David Aaron. This is based on a beautiful poem written by Ira Paul Costell, who actually sings tenor in my choir and also is a member of the Long Island Symphonic Choral Association and the East End Singers. And his poem was written for his nephew, who died of an accidental drug overdose about 10 years ago. And he wrote this on the first anniversary of his death, as he reflected on seeing his brother spread his ashes into the sea. Ira worked with me on making this poem work in song, and the idea of this poem is to go from a place where we're remembering David Aaron and mourning his loss to a place of hope. Because one thing about David that I learned from Ira was that he, even though he was struggling with addiction himself, he really focused on helping others to overcome their addictions. And so it's extremely sad that he couldn't save himself. He was able to help others with their addiction. He was there for them. The refrain goes, "We lift up our hearts together in faith, together in strength and in love," and then the message is hope and the promise is freedom. And the idea of this is to really kind of address the opioid crisis and as it affects our towns, our communities, our children, our youth. We're really in the middle of a huge opioid crisis, especially here on Long Island, but it's around the world actually, right? Or at least around the nation. And it's happening. Drug addiction is an epidemic, and it's happening everywhere. And so this song really kind of talks about embracing those that are struggling with drug addiction and telling them that you're there, because often I've seen that drug addiction is misunderstood and it's a taboo subject. Those people that are struggling are quiet about it and don't have the support that maybe they need, and that has to change. This is the honor page. So even though we're singing about David Aaron in the refrain, in the first two movements, or the first two verses, we get to the refrain for the third time, and in the third, you could add names from your community to honor people that you've lost in your community. And so what we did at the concert is we actually added 6 names of people, and we had a PowerPoint up on the screen. And so as we sang the names, we actually had an image of they were all youth, some maybe, I think were in their 20s, and we had pictures, their picture would go up as we sang their name with their name and their birth date and the date and then when they passed as well. So that people could just put a picture and a face to the name, and I think that it really makes it very personal for the audience, who in our case actually there were family members of the people that were up on the screen in the audience. It was very powerful. There were a lot of tears. And what's neat about the refrain also, I should say this, is that the audience is able to sing along. We actually put the lyrics of the refrain up. And so when you have a whole entire choir and you have a whole entire audience singing together as a community, saying that they're supporting those people that are struggling and that they're remembering and honoring those people that lost their lives to drug addiction, it's very powerful. And I think that this song, Pay the Ferryman for David Aaron, I really hope it does a lot of good.